For a limited time, save up to 30%. Plus, through Thursday, save an additional 10% on already reduced prices. Or get 0% interest for 6 whole years. Ashley Home Store. This is home.
This is Tassie Hawthorne from sunny California, and I listen to STMK Radio 100. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 on Facebook Live.
Stop the madness. Keep it 100. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100 with your hosts, Shawn L, Let, and Tone the Stone. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 with live call-ins, heated discussions about current events, politics, national news, weather, and sports. Join our live online chat room and let your opinion show. Download our phone app. Stop the madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100. Come join us from 6 to 8 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. The best talk show on the web is here on STMK Radio 100. Call us at 1-866-484-7865. That's 1-866-484-STMK. Stop the madness. Keep it 100.
You're listening to STMK Radio 100.
Dropping that heat. Dropping that heat on the turntables.
Come on. Hot, sicker than your average. Papa twist cabbage on instinct. Niggas don't think shit stink. Pink Gators, my Detroit players. Tim's for my hooligans in Brooklyn. That's dead right. If the head right, Biggie there, air night. Papa been smooth since days of under rules. Never lose, never choose to. Bruise, cruise, who? Do something to us. Talk, go through us. Girls want to us, wanna do us, screw us. Who us? Yeah, Papa and Puff. Close like Starsky and Hutch. Stick to clutch. Yeah, I squeeze 3 at your cherry M3. Bang every MC easily.
Take that.
Easily. Recently, niggas frontin' ain't saying nothing, so I just speak my peace. Keep my peace. Cubans with the Jesus peace. With my peace. Packing, asking who want it. You got it, nigga, flaunt it. That Brooklyn bullshit, we on it.
Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake.
I put hoes in NY onto DKNY. Miami, DC, prefer Versace.
That's right.
All Philly hoes know it's Moschino. Every cutie with the booty, boy, the coochie. Now who's the real dookie? Meaning who's really the shit? Them niggas ride dicks. Frank White push the 6 on the Lexus LX 4.5. Bulletproof glass tips if I want some ass. Gon' blast squeeze first, ask questions last. That's how most of these so-called gangsters pass. At last, a nigga rapping about blunts and broads, tits and bras, menage a trois, sex and expensive cars, and still leave you on the pavement. Condo paid for, no car payment. At my arraignment, note for the plaintiff. Your daughter's tied up in the Brooklyn basement. Face it, not guilty. That's how I stay true. Richer than rich, so you niggas come and get me.
Come on. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake.
I can fill you with real millionaire shit. That's cargo, my cargo, 160, swiftly. Wreck it by your new one. Your crew run, your crew run. I know you sick of this name brand nigga with flows. Girls say he's sweet like licorice. So get with this, nigga, it's easy. Girlfriend, here's a bitch. Call me round 10, come through, have sex on rubs, that's Persian.
That's right.
Come up to your job, hit you while you're working, for certain. Papa freaking, not speaking, leave that ass leaking like rapper demo. Tell them move, take their clothes off slowly. Kill them with the force like Obi, dick black like Kobe, watch me roam like Romy. Lucky they don't owe me, where to say, show me, homie.
Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess that's why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. I guess is why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. Guess it's why they're broken, you're so fake. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. And I just love your flashy ways. Guess it's why they're broken, you're so
The College Football National Championship plays on Sirius XM. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Intercepted Alabama. Mack Wilson, he's going to take it in.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Got a block for Brown. Touchdown. We're headed to Atlanta.
Kicking off Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, and ESPN Radio 84 has live on-site coverage from Atlanta beginning at 7 a.m. Eastern. They'll take you on the field and into the locker room for college football's biggest game. Play-by-play and unmatched coverage is on ESPN Radio Channel 80 and ESPNU Radio Channel 84. Computer and smart device. Progress never stops, and neither do you. You need to hear the latest news, commentary, and interviews. Download the free app with your all-access subscription and stream every Progress show no matter where you are. Anywhere, anytime. We're here. Active, essential, progressive, Sirius XM Progress.
You're listening to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 with your hosts, Shawn L, Let, and Tone the Stone on STMK Radio 100, 100, 100.
Yes, this is a PSA, a public street announcement. You are now listening to a Kickback production. Light up your L's, lean back, and listen.
Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100, 100, 100, 100.
Hey, welcome to another Free for All Thursday in Studio 51. I'm your host, Shawn L. Hey, we want to thank our 48 cities for joining us in our Barbary Coast Radio on the West Coast out of Oklahoma. Facebook Live, Snapchat. Hey, Atlanta, Savannah, Jacksonville, and Toledo, Ohio. We want to welcome you to also. We're live on USTREAM TV and Pluto, SoundCloud, and Mixcloud. You can catch us on demand. Hey, we sitting up here in the studio today, and we got a guest that, hey, everybody been listening to. You know him as the singing sergeant. You seen him at the Browns game, singing the national anthem, the Cavs game, and the Indians at the seventh inning. Stretch putting it out there. God bless America. And that was just a little bit of what he does that you heard earlier. Hey, I want to welcome Sergeant Kennedy B. Jones to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100. How you doing tonight, Kennedy?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Oh, brother, I'm doing all right. I'm glad to have you with us. You know, we've been showing so much of your stuff, and everybody just love what you do. Everybody really don't know that. Tell us how you got into singing.
Man, I've been singing since I was 7 years old. I was singing way before I was a police officer. So, you know, I grew up in church, literally my whole life in church. And at the age of 7, I got my first solo, and the rest is history. And, you know, I've been all around the world now, including, as you just said, with the Browns, the Indians, the Cavs. And God has been good, man. And the music thing is what's carrying me through in retirement. That's why I went on and retired from the police department when I did, so I could commit to my music. So here we go.
Oh, you committed very well. When you started singing, what got you into the sports thing where you started singing the national anthem? Did you see something, or did you ask about it, or did somebody pull you up there and say, hey, I heard you sing, and say, hey, come do this?
Yeah, well, the first time I sang for the Cavs, I actually auditioned at the Gun. There was over 600 people showed up one Saturday, and I showed up, and I was number 248. And so they would take people into different hallways and the little rooms and just have you do your thing real quick. And they liked what they heard. So that was the 2016 season when they won the championship. So I like to think I was the good luck charm. So that's how it started with the Cavs. With the Browns, I actually sang for a Little League, a game where the police officers played against, it was a kids function thing, and they did a flag football game in the stadium. And somebody who works for the Browns heard me sing in the stadium for the kids thing and asked me to come back and sing for the Browns.
Oh, yeah.
So that was 2016 also. So
yeah, and we post some pictures up of Kennedy. The Browns gave you a nice jersey. Was that
Yeah,
original
yeah.
jersey?
Yep.
Play field jersey? Yeah, they
Yeah.
put it up there. And then you did the one, was that for the service day? But you did one at the Indians on the 7-inning stretch. I mean, that was a real nice.
Yeah, the first. So the Indians been kind of lagging up until this year because somebody had asked them about letting me sing for them a couple of years ago. And it's like, nah, we cool. So, but this year they actually sought me out. And the first game I sang for, I did the God Bless America, which is what you just heard. And that was at the 7th inning. But I've also done the national anthem for them. And I did the national anthem for the All-Star game home run derby, which was very cool. I did not know that the home run derby is actually bigger than the All-Star game.
Right, yeah.
So I was able to do that. So that was very cool. They actually reached out to me to sing for the playoffs too, when they thought they were gonna, have the wild card game, and so we know how that turned out. But it's been good, man. I appreciate. I've never taken for granted that people like to hear me sing, because singers literally come dime a dozen, and so I appreciate God for giving me the gift, and I appreciate people for giving me the opportunity.
Now, when we was checking you out, we was told you did a little background singing for Angie P.
Yeah, I help her out a little bit. She's a friend. She's a bad girl. I heard some of her stuff I was driving, I think to Columbus or somewhere not too long ago, and they played her on the wave. So, and I recognized her right away. So, yeah, I've sang with her a few times. We travel around pretty much in Ohio, but yeah, I've sang with her. She's a bad girl.
Yeah, we had her and Spates and them. We've been playing her music.
Cool.
And I don't know if we got any of yours that you did with her, but we've been playing a lot of her stuff that she had. Now, when you was in the church, were you in the choir? They brought you through the choir, or?
Yeah, well, I'm still in the church, and that's
okay.
That's where I came through.
Okay,
yeah, I started. So yeah, like I said, my first solo was 7 years old, and that was in the church. And so, pretty much the majority of everything I do still now is church related. I do the anthems, and I do some weddings, and I sing with Angel P for some of the secular things. But most of the stuff I do right now is still associated with the church.
What church are you associated with?
I'm a member of the Mount Hebron Church of Cleveland, and my pastor is Judah C. Early.
Okay. you do a lot of traveling now. I mean, since you've been retired, I know you've been going a lot of places and running everywhere. So tell us where you've been.
Where do I start? So just this year, January, I was in Sweden, touring over there. February, I was in New York City. March, we were in April. March, we were in Los Angeles, Bakersfield. I just got back from somewhere. they all start to run together. But 2017, I was blessed to go to Africa, sing over there. 2015, I was in Tokyo, Japan. The trip in January was actually my third trip to Sweden. I've been to Switzerland 3 times, sang in Lithuania. May, I sang in Toronto for their police memorial. They brought me up there, and I was a special guest for them. So it's been a busy year, man. Like I said again, I appreciate God for the gift and for people for appreciating it.
Tone the Stone in Studio 51. So what's up there? J Mac is also with us.
Small world, man. Small world.
I just was telling Jay, I was just telling him that the other hosts were coming in. I didn't know that you knew the brother. Okay, that's good. You know, I got to do a disclosure here, but we ain't going to be talking about too much anyway. But I'm not going to do my disclosure. But I know Kennedy very well, and he's a retired sergeant with the Cleveland Police Department, and we're going to have him back so he can talk some stuff when we go in there.
Yeah, man. June last year. Year ago, June. I let it go, man. 25 years is enough.
So Kennedy, what is your aspirations? I know you're doing stuff with the church. Are you going to put out some albums or?
Well, I actually have 3 out already.
Okay, you got tell us about it.
My newest one I just released is entitled "You Are God," and it's available on my site. I haven't put it on digital yet, but it's in Sweden already. So I released it over there in January. But my original album is entitled "Worship You Now," and then I did a Christmas CD some years ago called "Christmas with Kennedy." So
how can somebody get that? You got to
yeah, you can go to my website. It's KennedyJonesGospel.com. Just my name, KennedyJonesGospel.com, and you can purchase it right there on the site. I'm going to eventually have it on all the media, on the digital outlets, but right now it's just God hasn't moved on me yet to go that way. So
well, I'm glad.
Yeah, so the job was actually slowing me down. So so one of the lieutenants when I was working, I was telling him I had to go. I think it was Sweden. The last time we went to Sweden, and he said, "I think this job is getting in your way." I said, "I think you're right." So me retiring just frees me up. I don't have to ask somebody's permission. I don't have to worry about what time I have to be back and that kind of stuff. That's exactly right. And that was actually a big decision in me deciding to retire, because I could have worked where I was. I could have worked 10 more years. You know, I mean, I had an office job. I was on the road my first 23 years, but the last 2, I was in the chief's office. So I could have chilled, but I prefer my freedom over the money. So yeah, so I'm rolling now, man, doing my thing literally now.
So how much are your CDs?
The You Are God is 15. The Call to Worship is 10, and I believe the Christmas is 10 as well. Christmas with Kennedy is 10 as well.
Hey,
Yep. Yep. And then the Christmas, even the Christmas has a gospel feel to it.
Okay.
Yeah, I do one on there that has a nice little jazz feel that was produced by my friend Dream Ivy. He's an amazing musician. He just moved to Japan, but the rest of it has the gospel flow. Yeah. But like I was telling Shawn, I sing. Most people don't even know. People who I work with for 25 years don't know I actually have a music degree. So I went to school for this, but I was singing before I went to school, so I can literally sing anything. I did an opera in November last year with Tri-C. I am now currently working with a group singing spirituals. Would be November 9th. So I literally do it all. You know. Nah, this man, you got to take up a collection. You have to take up a collection. Yeah, man. Yep. Yeah, man. So I think I don't think I knew you that far back, but yeah. Usually when I would shoot through, a lot of times I'm headed to a gig. So yeah, man. It's been my life for a little while now. Like I said, I had to pay the bills. So and I wanted to be the police since I was a kid. So it's a win-win for me. But I had to pay the bills, and the music wasn't paying the bills. So now I got a pension, and I can do my music. So
All right,
you
yeah.
know, so it's all good.
right.
Yeah.
So, you can get that music at Kennedy.com. Right.
KennedyJonesGospel.com. Yep.
KennedyJonesGospel.com.
Yep.
Make sure you go there, get that, and we're gonna have to get those 3 CDs and then put some of your music up on
Cool.
the air. So, what is your plans right now for what you got planned? If somebody wanted to come see you, you got anything planned to church? Anything, any concerts or anything?
No concerts. Again, the spiritual thing I'm doing is the November 9th, and I'm not sure of the location because I'm just helping with that. That's not my thing. But most of the stuff that I do now is actually outside of Cleveland because, well, for a variety of reasons. But
Well,
a
we
lot of
know
stuff I
that.
do is outside. But no concerts as of right now. But I'll keep you in the loop, man, when stuff comes up. I have see the 17th. I'll be singing downtown at a convention. These people call Belkin Productions and asked for me specifically. So that's big. That's cool. The 18th, I'm singing at a first responders dinner on the west side. On the 19th, I'm singing somewhere else. And then on the 20th, I'm singing with at a police chaplain, Gloria Cheney's church. I think it's Church of the Redeemer over on not Mayfield. What's the Monticello, on Monticello. So that week, I'm doing something every weekend. But yeah, it's here and there, and I post when I can, and I try and remember when I can. So
Yeah, let us know so we can post it out and get it
Yep,
out there
will
for
do.
you. Because we like it to produce and kick out anybody in the city of Cleveland is doing something positive. That's
Cool.
that's the difference with our podcast is that we bring on positive things. There's enough negative and
Right.
enough madness going
Right.
on. So we would like to
Right.
bring the sunshine, the people writing books and
Excellent.
everything. And
Excellent.
it's good if you're doing anything with your church to let us know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you look at this and you're singing these events and everything, what goes through your mind when you're standing out there and you got like 58,000 or 120,000 people looking down at you like when you're in the stadium or whatever?
Man, it's the bomb. Let me just tell you. So the thing that I do is I remember where I started, and I never try and be bigger than I am. I know what I can do, so I stand and I do what I do. People always ask me after all these years, do you still get nervous? I do, and I believe being nervous is a stopgap. It kind of keeps you from getting a big head, because there are those days. There are those days when you hit that one note, you're like, ooh, I missed that note. But I work on my craft, and as far as the anthem and whatever, I try and be prepared because being prepared takes away a lot of room for mistakes or errors, that kind of stuff. So now I know the anthem literally backwards and forwards. Now I actually sing the Canadian anthem. I have to sing downtown, but yeah, yeah, yeah. So now they got me. So when I was in Toronto, I sang the American and the Canadian anthem. So yeah, yeah.
What, Jay, you was listening to us when you was coming into the studio, man? I mean, you was getting it together. And put your mic up to you a little bit, so I need to hear your voice.
It's been a minute.
They're flashing us a little bit, Jay. Just bring your mic down so you can talk into it. There you go, right there. There you go. They can hear you now.
Yeah. Seven.
In the choir or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my sister-in-law used to be out. She wasn't even my sister-in-law then. She was our church musician, and I'd sang around the house and whatever. Nobody paid me any attention. At 7 years old, I could do all the licks of Michael Jackson,
Okay.
all of them,
Okay,
all
yeah.
of them. And so, but nobody cared because you just walking around the house making noise.
Right.
And one Sunday,
Was you dancing with him?
yeah, she gave me she gave me the song at rehearsal on Saturday, and on Sunday morning, I got up and sang the song, and the church just went crazy, And as a 7-year-old, you don't understand why that is, But here we are. The rest is history,
Yeah.
So now for the rest of my life, I've committed to singing the gospel, man. Like I said, I'll sing, the R&B, and I'll sing the jazz and whatever. but I'm committed to the gospel. I've had 3 different people offer to record me singing R&B for free, and I told them no because I made a commitment to gospel.
Okay.
I'll still sing R&B, but that's not my life.
Right.
That's not who I am.
You won't record any R&B.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I
I
see
mean,
that. That's what's
yeah.
up.
So yeah. So it all started in the church, man. The New Hope Baptist Church in Terrell, Texas. Shout out. So my sister and them, my mom and dad, and my sisters, and 2 of my brothers still go there. Church we grew up in. And when I was home last weekend. One of my cousins passed, and later in the week, my brother was inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. So I was there last weekend, and they had me sing at the church I grew up in. So, I'm still connected, man. I'm still connected.
Okay.
Sports Hall of Fame where?
In Terrell, Texas, just east of Dallas. Terrell High School in Terrell, Texas, just east of Dallas, about 30 miles east of Dallas.
So since you've been retired and you hanged up your badge and everything, tell us how it feels, or
man, when I tell you there are no worries, can I tell you, we were talking earlier off the air about stuff that's going on in the city, and I don't know because I'm not trying to keep up with the news. I used to tell people when I was working, I don't watch the news because I live the news. Well, now I don't watch the news because I'm done with that life. So probably about once every other week, I watch the news, just kind of stay up, But I don't miss it, man. When I was out there, I told you I was on the street for 23 years. And I got a busted ankle, I got a stiff neck, I got a bad back, all those things to show for it, And so when I decided to give it up, I walked away. The thing that I was proud about was that I wasn't retiring because I was in trouble. I wasn't retiring because I couldn't do the job no more. I wasn't retiring because nobody blackballed me. I was retiring because in 1993, they said to me, in 25 years, if you keep your nose clean, you can retire and we'll pay you a pension for the rest of your life. And I thought about it then in that classroom, and I said, man, I'll only be 53 because I was 28 when I went in. I said, I'll only be 53 and I can do whatever else I want to do. Well, here we are 25 years later.
Yeah.
So, but since retirement, I've been doing, besides working, doing stuff at my house, hanging out with my wife. We've been traveling literally everywhere. And my music, man, I'm literally just enjoying life. I don't watch the news. I don't listen to no scanner. I don't call nobody to ask what's going on.
Do you ever find yourself waking up and doing things that you do like
No.
routine as a cop?
No, I do not.
You don't reach for your gun
No,
first thing when you
I
wake
do
up?
not. So, and you know what? Some of it is I actually consciously, because I live on the corner. My house is on the corner. It's right up in Collinwood. And, you get the boys pull up to the corner and they trying to meet their little friends and what have you.
Yeah.
So back in the day, my bedroom window is right there. So back in the day, I'd turn and, crack the window. And if I need to, shine a light out or go out to the side door, hey, what's it? I do. Now it's like I look out that window. As long as ain't nobody killing nobody, I'm letting that window down and going back to sleep, man. So I consciously, so the instinct is still there.
Right.
But I suppress the instinct because that ain't me no more. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you press me, I can still be the police. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I gave up that life, and I gave it up deliberately. So I love where I'm at, man. Me and my wife having a ball. Both my girls are doing well. We're getting ready. I told you we should get back from Sweden. We're preparing now to go to Germany. We were in Jamaica in July, singing over there. It was hot as all get out. But so I have no restrictions now. My only restriction now is me and my wife.
Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I love it. So me committing to the city of Cleveland for 25 years and doing what I was supposed to do, keeping my nose clean, doing, being an example of what a police officer's supposed to be.
Right.
When I retired, Sean, they did the little thing in the chief's office, and they did the thing from the city council.
Right.
I had forgotten about some of the awards I got.
Right.
They started reading them down and whatever. I had forgotten about some of that stuff.
Right, and then the plaque and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nita, myself. When you look at everything that's going on right now, because we only got about 8 minutes with you because you got to get out of here. We thought we was going to have the whole show.
I'm cool. Let's talk, man.
There
Let's
were some
talk.
things.
I'm good.
So when you look at this right here, and we're going to get into this later, where do you see policing at right now in the community?
Well, there's not a simple answer to that. Policing, let me say this, policing today is far different than policing when we came on 25, 30 years ago. It's a whole different game on both sides.
Explain that.
It's a whole different game because now, back in the day, police did kind of run roughshod. Nowadays, it's a kind of a combination of a few out of control police, but the media trying to make it look like it's the majority of us. And I will stand on this till the day I die, and I'll challenge anybody. There are far more good police than there are bad police. But which one do you see more of in the media?
You're right. But it's funny because I was just thinking how when we used to talk, I used to talk about police all the time. I used to ask you a lot of questions about police and this, different questions. I remember a lot of stuff you told me. But we never talked about the music, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So
we never talked to music. That's crazy. I didn't even know you
That's
was
funny,
this deep in the music.
Yeah, man.
I used to ask you a lot of police questions,
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: how do you see the community right now? What do the people in the community? How do you view that right now?
Well, it's the same thing. It's kind of a mixed bag, and I think it depends on what your source is. You know, if you watch YouTube or you on Facebook all the time, and all you get is these videos is folks feeding you about the cop beating the guy down or whatever, then that's the way you're gonna lean. If you're one of those who knows a police officer and knows that he or she is a decent person, then some of that is gonna bounce off of you. But the media sensationalizes most police stories. Let me give you a good example, and we're not going to talk about it in detail. But let me give you a good example. When the gentleman shot Tamir Rice on the West Side,
right?
What the media showed you was a 30-second clip of him walking up to the car, them driving up and shooting him. What the average person doesn't know is that video is about 45 minutes long, and it shows him out there waving the gun around, at cars going by. A young lady walked past him on the sidewalk, and he put the gun in her face and followed her down the sidewalk. Well, but the media wants to show you the good part. Well, if you want to get the whole truth, you have to show the whole part.
Right.
And I understand.
That makes perfect sense.
And I understand that news is, with the commercials and stuff, is about 21 minutes long. I get that, but it's still unfair to us or any walk of life that you show the media, you show the people what you want them to see, whether or not it tells the whole story.
Right.
And to me, that's unfair.
The
So I
stuff
think
that's going to rile them up.
Absolutely. The thing that sells newspapers, if you will, or sells commercials. So I think that's unfair, but I think that most people, I pray that most people are becoming savvy enough now to realize this is what I tell everybody. Listen, any walk of life you name, judges, helicopter pilots, trash men, politicians, radio DJs, the president, preachers, any walk of life you name, there's a small percentage of them that don't deserve to have that title.
Right. I completely agree with you.
Agree?
The only thing I say about that is, because we're all human beings. So a cop is capable of making a mistake. A judge is capable of making a mistake, having a bad day. The only difference is with the cop or somebody in a position of power like that, when they having a bad day or make a mistake or give in to their rage or whatever, they wield a certain power over the regular people.
Agreed.
So it carries a very more heavy consequence than if I'm at my job
principle.
and I have a bad day. Yeah, in principle it is.
Yeah.
But they have a different level of authority over
responsibility
people.
goes with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they have less room for error to make those mistakes.
I agree with you.
And that's why we have to do accountability. But when you look at this, once again, we have a president of the United States suggesting and saying and urging foreign countries to interfere in our presidential election again. Matter of fact, it's going to be the Russia investigation 2.0. Okay, and when you look at this, can you give us a thing? Where's our politics going now?
Man, how much time you got?
Go ahead, just run it. You got 4 minutes.
So here's the thing. This is the thing that kills me. We all can agree that there's always been a certain degree of dirt in politics.
Right.
That's the nature of politics. Even if you're not doing anything illegal, politics is about wheeling and dealing to get what you want for you or for your people.
That's why we call it the swamp.
Absolutely. It's a whole different ball game though when you knowingly elect somebody who has been proven to be corrupt most of his adult life. It's a whole different animal.
Right.
I don't care nothing about, they talking about, we wanted somebody who wasn't a part of the system. We want somebody who was not a career politician. Well, now you see what you got, right?
Amen.
Because you're not gonna take, what's the guy's name? Kitchens, Browns coach Kitchens.
Right.
You're not gonna take him and switch him out with Tony Francona just because you tired of Tony Francona.
Right.
Even if he is an amazing football coach. He can't tell you nothing about the football field. Amen. So even if Donald Trump was really who he say he is financially, which they've proven that he's not, what does that got to do with him not pushing us into World War III?
Right.
Which is kind of where we, between Russia and North Korea,
where we going?
That's kind of where we headed.
Yeah.
So sure, and I said this, and somebody really close to me agreed with me. A lot of people who voted for Donald Trump didn't vote for Donald Trump. They voted against Hillary Clinton
and Barack Obama.
Right, in another 4 years.
See, you have to look. What I'm looking at is this is a repercussion of having a black president. Okay?
I don't think so. Well, I guess you know what? I will give you that because they didn't want the ones who hated him.
Right.
Didn't want no semblances.
Right.
So I give you that.
And you look at what the Republicans did. They obstructed him. He brought back everything. And if you go back into history, they said you couldn't do this, okay, and that you wasn't capable of it. And if you look at who's pushing the agenda for the Trump administration and his immigration policies is all white extremists, okay, and that's where the break is at. But I think now the people actually is getting kind of tired of the chaos.
Hold on, let me say one thing though, Sean. You were saying Donald Trump is the result of a black president, but I also believe that the black president was a result of George Bush.
That's a good point.
People forget about George Bush.
That's absolutely true.
Well, I'm gonna say this.
Or George Bush, too.
But Barack Obama got in office. You have to go back and understand is that we was coming out and we was going into a Great Depression right there, and America's not ready for a woman to lead. Right. Okay, so you have to look at this. That was the choice: either a woman leading you or Barack Obama.
Regardless of how qualified how much more qualified she was.
And so they went with Barack, and then you have to understand the minority people that came out. That was like Martin Luther King rising again, and everybody don't understand that. When Hillary ran against Trump, that you seen what was happening. Plus, they tied
good old boys.
Right, they tied the mass incarceration around her neck, and we held her to a higher standard that she didn't have anything to do, but we tied that on to her and held her responsible for it. Okay, and then what happened with Bernie Sanders? Those people left. Now we might not have that problem now with Biden and Elizabeth Warren and them. Okay, but I see Biden taking it, but I see Biden gonna have to go and get him a female and put her on a ticket. He can't do what Hillary did.
Right.
But you know what? Hold that thought right there because Kennedy Jones, we'd like to thank you for being with us. He got to get to an important meeting, and we're going to be right back. We got to pay some bills, but we're going to go into the Blue Room with Ice Cube and arrest the president.
You're listening to Stop the Madness. Keep it 100 on STMK Radio 100. 100.
Dropping that heat. Dropping that heat on the turntables.
It's the warlord, bring the voodoo. When I bail through, it's crazy like Bellevue. What they tell you, leave that boy alone, like Home Alone. Fuck a skull and bone, arrest the president. You got the evidence, that nigga is Russian intelligence. You so basic with your vape stick. Let's go ape shit in the Matrix. Arrest the president, arrest the president, arrest the president. You got the evidence, arrest the president, arrest the president, arrest the president. You got the evidence, arrest the president, arrest the president, arrest the president. You got the evidence. Arrest the president, arrest the president, arrest the president. You got the evidence. Arrest the president, you got the evidence. That nigga is Russian intelligence. You so basic with your vape stick. Let's go ape shit in the Matrix. Arrest the president, arrest the president, arrest the president. You got the evidence. Arrest the president, arrest the president, arrest the president. You got the evidence. When I dropped the mic, it hit the floor like Thor. That's right. You can't pick it up no more. Don't even try. Y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it was. Y'all know what it shall be. Get smart for the shit start. For it get dark. For they hit you with the pitchfork. Better crip walk. This is real talk. Smoke push, ambush, then we peel off. Niggas still rolling with the wheels off. Always looking out for the crisscross. I'm a bigger boss than Rick Ross. Always winning, nigga get lost. It's the warlord, bring the voodoo. When I bail through, it's crazy like Bellevue. What they tell you, leave that boy alone, like Home Alone. Fuck a skull and bone, arrest the president. You got the evidence, that nigga is Russian intelligence. When it rains, it pours. Did you know the new white was orange? Boy, you're showing your horns. They trying to replace my halo with thorns. You so basic with your vape stick. Let's go ape shit in the Matrix. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. You got the evidence. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. You got the evidence. I took back my ice in all black tonight. That's right, some niggas gotta sacrifice. Not a criminal. No, I'm a Seminole. Yeah, I was free once. Now I'm clinical. You so technical. This was Mexico. Now everywhere I go is owned by Texaco. Fuck them and the rest of you. I turn a fruit into a vegetable. I'ma roll with the aliens. Man, fuck these homo sapiens. They don't really wanna make friends. All they want is a Mercedes Benz. All they want is they dividends and decibels. Fuck these citizens. They'll treat us like hooligans. Throw him in, they don't care what school he in. These people don't play fair. It ain't even fair at the state fair. Give a young nigga gray hair, that's why I'm here. Make your ass lay there. You better stay there. Close your fucking eyes like it's daycare. Make myself clearer than Shakespeare. I'm here to take money, even fake hair. So desperate is what I'm left with. For the record, you affected. Who you elected is so septic, so full of shit, I can't accept it. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. You got the evidence. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. You got the evidence. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. You got the evidence. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. You got the evidence. I reside on the west side. I murder with my third eye. Niggas so fly, get a bird's eye. I make them scream bloody murder. Let's meet at the White House. Run in and turn the lights out. Man, they treat it like a trap house. These motherfuckers never take the trash out. They just cash out and mash out. Nigga, take your drugs and pass out. Niggas love to go that fast route. I see you when your black ass get out. Homie, you play too much. Why these devils, they doing way too much. Most of them won't say too much. Why they steady planning, God knows what. That's why I roll with the real ones. Real ones, trying to reach millions. Real ones, trying to make billions. Real ones, dressed like civilians. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. You got the evidence. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. Arrest the president. You got the evidence.
In the Dallas courtroom,
the jury unanimously find the defendant, Amber Geiger, guilty of murder as charged in the indictment.
Geiger is the white former police officer who shot and killed an unarmed black man, Botham Jean, in his apartment, a floor above hers last September. She thought she was in her apartment when the shooting occurred. In testimony during the penalty phase of the trial, Jean's mother, Allison, talked about his legacy.
All the things that Botham started, his outreach to the delinquent boys, the orphanage, the elderly home. We've started a foundation in his name, the Botham Jean Foundation.
Prosecutors have submitted some of her text messages, accepted as evidence over defense objections that indicated Geiger lacked sensitivity toward black people. In one, she suggested while working security, participants at a Martin Luther King Jr. Day parade could be persuaded to go home the use of physical violence and pepper spray. She faces from 5 to 99 years in prison. House Democrats want voluntary information from several past and present State Department officials as part of the impeachment inquiry. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Magani reports Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is digging in his heels.
While visiting Rome, Pompeo's accused 3 Democratic committee chairs on Twitter of trying to intimidate and bully the officials by asking them to appear for depositions in the next 2 weeks. He says that's not feasible and that he will use all means to stop them from being intimidated. The three chairmen say Pompeo is the one trying to intimidate witnesses into protecting himself and the president, and that trying to keep them from talking to Congress is illegal. The chairs write they expect Pompeo's full compliance. Sagar Magani, Washington.
South Korea says North Korea has fired projectiles off its east coast. This is AP Radio News. The Justice Department's Inspector General says the Drug Enforcement Administration was slow to respond to the opioid crisis.
The watchdog report finds that as opioid-related deaths began spiking after 2013, the DEA held back one of its key enforcement tools, suspending manufacturers, distributors, and others to keep drugs from being diverted. The DEA is agreeing to some of the recommendations in the report. West Virginia's Attorney General Patrick Morrissey, who sued the DEA, says this mismanagement contributed to the senseless deaths of many Americans. Jackie Quinn, Washington.
Federal prosecutors in Philadelphia say a former suburban sheriff's deputy and 3 Chinese nationals ran an online fentanyl delivery service linked to 5 deaths. Philadelphia Inquirer reports the Chinese distributors took orders on websites based in their country, sent the product to David Landis, who shipped it through the U.S. mail to domestic customers and overseas. I'm Tim McGuire, AP Radio News.
Go from dreaming of something more to getting the most out of life by earning your degree and finding a rewarding career in nursing. At Bryant and Stratton College, we offer nursing programs with flexible schedules and online learning options to fit your lifestyle. And our Career Life Prep offering gives you the support you need before, during, and after college. Bryant and Stratton College, for every and in life. Start your journey today. Visit bryantstratton.edu.
For important program information and locations, please visit our website at bryantstratton.edu/degrees.
You know, ball players learn superstitions early. Some guys rub their bats for luck.
Good guess.
Some guys always wear rally hats. Others pet the catcher's head. Me, I take my relief pitcher to Pizza Hut before every game.
Now buy a Pizza Hut pizza and get a relief pitcher for just $2.49. Then get free Pepsi fill-ups all summer with any dinner-sized pizza to go. Every pitcher sold helps support Little League of America.
With a great relief pitcher, maybe you don't need superstitions.
Pizza Hut, bigger than great.
STMK Radio 100. 100.
Like you own my life. You never made any sacrifice. Demons there on my trail, standing at the crossroads of hell. I look to the left, I look to the right. Hands that grab me on every side. Like I got my price, which I'll sell, that is mine. Think money rules when all else fails. Go sell your soul, keep your shell. I'm trying to protect what I keep inside. All the reasons why I live my life. standing at the point, road across you down. What is at your back? Which way do you turn? Who will come find you first? Devils or your gods? All you folks think you run my life, I should be willing to compromise. Say all you demons go back to hell. Save my soul, save myself. 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 Save my soul, save myself.
Far too many of us want to throw in the towel before we've thrown up the prayers.
Dr. Tony Evans says Christians have a habit of underusing or overlooking our most valuable spiritual resource.
Grace is available, but only at the throne, and you can only approach the throne through prayer.
You can deepen your connection with the Lord through our in-depth course on Kingdom Prayer at the Tony Evans Training Center. You'll discover how God has wired the world to work by prayer and experience for yourself how it connects heaven with earth and time with eternity. You'll not only gain a new understanding and appreciation for prayer, you'll actually pray in transforming ways you've never experienced before. The course is intense, but you can work through it at your own pace and get all the help you need through our online forum. And, of course, there's custom content from Tony not available anywhere else. Connect with the Tony Evans Training Center at tonyevans.org. It's like having a seminary on your smartphone or other device. Start today. tonyevans.org.
You've been tuned in to Stop the Madness, keeping it 100 on STMK Radio 100. And now back to your host one more time, Shawn L, Let, and Tone the Stone.
If people take away from this case some lessons about the police and about crime labs that really ought to be reckoned with, then maybe some good will come out of this. If we learn something more about race in the criminal justice system and the way we perceive things as a country, and something good comes of this discussion, then maybe there'll be some positives. In terms of the way this case was covered by the media and respect for the dignity of the courts and the process, I think we've got some serious trouble.
About being anti-police. You saw the police you could believe, and you now know the ones you can't believe. And anybody who believes that all police are perfect, that they don't lie, that they don't have the same biases and racism that the rest of society has, is living in a dream world. So this is not for the faint of heart. This is not for the timid. As I said, this is for the courageous who understand what the Constitution is all about. Officers came out to Bundy and Rockingham, maybe more than 30. You think that of those number of officers, that maybe one of them, maybe one of the patrol officers could have went to give the notice? It took all 4 detectives, all 4 LAPD experienced detectives to leave the bodies. They had notified the coroners. They didn't have a criminalist to go over to notify O.J. Simpson. Who's fooling who here? This is preposterous. They're lying. Trying to get over that wall, to get in that house. You don't believe so? You're talking about saving lives? Before this trial started, if you grow up in this country, you know there are affirmants out there. You learn early on in your life that you're not going to be naive. that you love your country, but you know it's not perfect. So you understand that. So it's no surprise to me. But I don't take any pride in it. But for some of you, you're finding out the other side of life. You're finding out. That's why this case is so instructive. You're finding out about the other side of life. But things aren't always as they seem. It's not just rhetoric. It's the actions of people. It's the lack of courage. It's the lack of integrity at high places. That's what we're talking about here. Credibility doesn't attach to a title or position. It attaches to the person. So the person who may have a job where he makes $2 an hour can have more integrity than the highest person. It's something from within. It's in your heart. It's what the Lord has put there. That's what we're talking about in this case. And so why don't they speak out? Why do they take him to their breast? Compare how our prosecutors treat Furman as opposed to Cato Caleb. Look at how they treated Mark Partridge as opposed to Cato Caleb. Look at how they embraced him. And now they want to distance themselves. These same people say, oh, he's not important. But the Rocard photograph puts the lie to that. He is very important. And what becomes so important when we talk about these two twin demons of evil? But America's worst nightmare. Why would they all turn their heads and try to cover for him? Why would you do that if you're sworn to uphold the law? There is something about corruption. There's something about a rotten apple that will ultimately infect the entire barrel. Because if the others don't have the courage that we'd ask you to have in this case, people sit silently by. We live in a society where many people are apathetic. They don't want to get involved. And that's why all of us, to a person in this courtroom, have thanked you from the bottom of our hearts. Because you know what? You haven't been apathetic. You're the ones who made a commitment toward justice. And it's a painful commitment. But you got to see it through. Your commitment, your courage, is much greater than these police officers. This man could have been off the force long ago if they'd done their job, but they didn't do their job. People looked the other way. People didn't have the courage. One of the things that has made this country so great is people's willingness to stand up and say, that's wrong. I'm not going to be part of it. I'm not going to be part of the cover-up. That's what I'm asking you to do. Stop this cover-up. Stop this cover-up. If you don't stop it, then who? You think the police department's going to stop it? You think the DA's office is going to stop it? Do you think we can stop it by ourselves? It has to be stopped by you. His lack of credibility, his lying, racist views, then Ron Phillips, his supervisor, who apparently chose to look the other way, and I'm sure he's as embarrassed as anybody else by this disgrace, Furman. So it's important at the outset that we understand the role of Phillips, as we need to understand the role of Van Anner. He was the one allegedly given this order by Bushy to go over and give the death notification. Didn't comply with it till much later that time. And you know, you can't fault people for being naive. But once they know, if they continue to be naive, then you can fault them. That's what it is, and that's why this case is important. Don't ever say again in this county or in this country that you don't know things like this exist. Don't pretend to be naive anymore. Don't turn your heads. Stand up. Show some integrity.
Hey, welcome back. Free for All Thursday. Tone the Stone, American Diamond Boy in Studio 51 with me and J Mac. J, what's going on?
How you doing, man? I'm just happy to be here, man.
Oh, man, I know you is. You know, that was the late Johnny Cochran, you know, and every time I hear that run right there when we did the OJ thing about 2 years ago, I really love that section because he's seriously talking about some things and he's telling the jury something. And that last part when he told him to stand up and have some courage.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was he's a powerful orator, but that was some powerful words all in all. Like
That's right. There'll never be another summation like that in life. And OJ was really lucky to have him. And I want to say this because, you know, there's two cases we want to go into. And I was just looking at them, and I don't know which ones I want to go into first. But you know what? I'm going to take the one right here in Cleveland, Ohio, East Cleveland. Chasing Justice has been fighting. And everybody know Sax Man and us, we did, 4 shows with Eric Jonathan Brewer, Martha Crenshaw of Chasing Justice, and everybody. We've been doing those shows. Saxman's been running the shows. When Chasing Justice said that East Cleveland police officer had not kept up their professional training, continuous training, and was not qualified to be on the street. And we have never been able to lock East Cleveland down with a statement, but guess what? Yesterday at a town hall, Captain Gardner, the PIO, press information officer, was at a church in East Cleveland, and he spoke about the professional continuous training, and we got him. So before we go in there, let's go here, control room, see if you can pop it up, and let's listen to what he's saying. I want everybody to listen to what he's saying very well, because guess what? Chasing Justice have schooled me so good, I done broke down some stuff, and we're going to dissect it before we go into the second case. So listen to this for a minute.
Hours you would have to attend to pass the training. After that, actually, it's been quite, when did CPT even come out? It's actually a relatively new thing. It's not 5 years, don't hold me to specific numbers. Okay. So within the last 5 years, PATA, who are the people that sort of give us our license to be a police officer, Ohio Peace Officer Training Association, about 5 years-ish ago, they stated that you had to have continuing education training along with other professionals, attorneys, doctors, things of that nature, right? And OPATA would come out and basically dictate, hey, you need to take XYZ training to be in compliance, right? So there's allegations that have been lodged that we were not in compliance. And there were certain officers that lapsed, okay? Where there seems to be confusion, let's say that you didn't take that class on time and you lapsed, okay? OPATA would send out a notification letter basically stating that, hey, until you take this training, you are in what's called cease function, meaning that you can still work, you just can't pick a rest. So what happened was certain officers would fall out of compliance. They'd be out of compliance from anywhere from a day to a month, whatever. And in certain circumstances, OPATA is not the most, and I'm not talking behind their backs, I'd say it right in front of them, OPATA is not the most organized group. There's no way for us to audit. Be able to log into a system and see, okay, well, this officer needs to take this training. But I have no ability to do that. Everybody in the police department is in compliance at this point, right? The allegations were made that we were out of compliance at certain times, and we were. Certain officers were at certain times. So that the question then becomes, well, did the officer effect an arrest while he was out of compliance, he or she was out of compliance? Okay, that is an issue, but from what we have been able to determine, that no officer was out of compliance and made any effective arrest, during that time. There's also a lot of confusion, like I said. Part of the allegations have been made that CPT has to be taken in person. It's completely false. 99% of all CPT is online. Okay. All right. And that's through OPATA. And if as residents of Ohio, if you want to talk your legislation and change it, make us go in person, that's fine. Right. But we are just trying to comply with whatever OPATA tells us to do. Right. But to answer your question, the police department as a whole is 100%
Okay, now you heard what he said right there. So I want to come into this because you know what? I am a 32-year veteran of law enforcement. I really had a sergeant sitting here, and I'm going to have to take. I'm going to have to be the one who is going to have to sit the record straight, especially for my audience. Okay. Now you look at the East Cleveland response for the professional continuous training response. Tone, he did a good spinning job. It was a mayor-friendly town hall. The mayor packed his people in there. You heard his people talking with him. But what got me and what's really pissing me off right here is that the activists who did all that raising hell and getting petitions and everything knew this was going to take place, knew he was sitting up there spinning a wig on them, and out lying, okay? And they did not call him out.
Did they even show up? Were they there?
Yeah, they was there. They was there. We got videos. We posted the video up on our thing, so everybody can go to our pages. I know Miss Crenshaw wasn't there because if Miss Crenshaw was there, she would have called him out because she's in court with them in November. So let me say the thing here. They had a court case. The judge ruled in November they're going to go to trial, and they better bring the certificates. This is the problem right here, and this is what I want to break it down. And this is what I want the audience and everybody to understand. When public officials lie to you, you must hold them accountable. This is a captain of the police department who lied to the residents of the community that he lives in. Okay?
Right out in public.
Right out in public. So I'm going to call it out. See, I'm going to call it out. See, everybody wanted to see what I was going to do and what I was going to say. I'm going to call it out. Now, when you listen to the tape, what he says up in there, and I don't have it broke down, but we'll break it back down if we have to. East Cleveland Police Department stated all officers are up to date, and that the professional continuous training only started 5 years ago. And remember, he said 5-ish, okay? Well, let me tell you this. That is an out-and-out lie. Professional continuous training started back in 1970. Every police officer in the state of Ohio has to go through professional continuous training yearly, plus have to go through yearly firearm qualifications. So I've been retired 8 years. So he's telling you that 5 years ago, we didn't have to do that.
So, I mean, you would have never had to do it.
There you go.
Right.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm calling them out.
Right,
I'm calling them out. I'm not going to try to keep the lie for them. Okay? So that's been over 40 years that everybody has to go for professional continuous training. You have to go requalify. Requalification is shooting on a course set by the state of Ohio. Pass or fail. Okay? You have a set of numbers. I think now it's 25 rounds you shoot. You can't get below 22. So if you miss more than 4 rounds on the target, you fail. You can't carry a gun. Okay? Period. If you fail to take the training, you go into what is known as a cease function mode. Okay? You have December 31st. Okay? Now, this is where I want everybody else to come back and look at this because this is what he says. Okay? He says officers were out of date for only a few days or a few weeks. Okay? That's not correct. Some of them officers has been out of date and in cease function modes for years, including the chief. Okay? I'm saying this because this should not be an issue. And when this is an issue, this is straight negligence. Okay? We're talking about thousands and thousands of people's constitutional rights being violated. We're talking about murderers sitting in jail, mass murderers who committed horrible homicides sitting in jail that may be walking our streets again after November the 12th. Okay? And we're going to go down into this, so I want you to follow me for a minute, okay? East Cleveland says that they have no way of checking to see if an officer is out of date or not in compliance with their training. That is an out-and-out lie, okay? The city of East Cleveland has to do a roster. When they do that roster on December 31st, they tell the state of Ohio whether the officer's completed his training or has not completed his training. If they click, yes, he completed his training, the state takes their word for it. If they put no, he hasn't completed his training, that officer goes into a deceased function mode, and he cannot go back out into the street and do policing until he submit that training certificate to the state of Ohio himself. And then the state of Ohio would send him a letter telling him that he can go back into service and go back out doing the police. If that doesn't happen, he can't go back out there. So the captain just told you saying that he had no way of checking to see if the officer was in compliance. That's a lie, because he's the one signing the paper saying that whether they're in compliance and sending it to the state of Ohio.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but so why is what the people holding them accountable and calling them out?
Well, we're going to talk about that. Just give me a minute here. I'm trying to get you to know where we at. You heard him, so I'm trying to explain what he did and come down.
What would stop him from just lying and saying they was in compliance if they're going to take his word for it?
But right, it was an honor system with the state of Ohio.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what the law says you're supposed to do. Okay.
I'm glad you said that. I'm going to go back to that too.
Okay. The East Cleveland police officers are the ones who keep the records. I just told you that. And they're the ones that send it to the state, okay? And they're supposed to send copies of the certificates to the state of Ohio to be reimbursed the money that they spent for the training, which East Cleveland had to refund over $10,000 when Ms. Crenshaw showed that they was not qualified to get that training.
So they was getting money for training that they never took?
That's correct.
So they was committing fraud, too.
That's thievery. Yeah, that's fraud.
Well, that's stuff in office, okay?
Okay.
Also, they must do a year-end report, okay? Now, and the problem is this. East Cleveland is required to keep a file on all the officers with their training certificates for the years that they took that training. They're supposed to put in their personnel file. They're supposed to have a file for in-service training for 2019 for every officer on the thing. So when Ms. Crenshaw and them filed those public record requests, and the state of Ohio cannot tell you if East Cleveland been in training, because guess what? They don't keep the training certificates in that. Remember, he tried to put it all on them, talking about they don't keep good files. Well, no, they don't keep good files because they was never receiving them, okay? And you were supposed to send them to them to get your $10,000. They didn't do that, okay? They're supposed to have the file. When I walk into the East Cleveland Police Department and I say I'm here from the state of Ohio, I need to see the files of the professional continuous training for 2019, they should hand me a file with every certificate in there. It's not that hard, people. It's not that hard, okay? If they can't hand me that file, then that means they're not in compliance, okay? That's what Ms. Crenshaw and Chasing Justice is in court right now. There are 4 warrants on police officers for the city of East Cleveland filed by the citizens on felony charges, theft in office, impersonating police officers, kidnapping, and all of those carry gun specs, okay, because they was armed when they committed those crimes.
Wow. They got felony warrants?
That's right. Well, they don't have felony warrants. They go on the trial, and they're asking the judge to file felony charges against them. Now, they filed against a guy named Marche, okay? He was the one that got stopped in Breton or drunk, the SWAT officer with all the guns.
The assault rifle.
Right.
Passenger seat.
And the judge ruled that case, sent it to the prosecutor's office, and that it should go before a grand jury. So we're waiting to see if he get charged with weapon under disability, which is felonies, which means he's going to lose his job. Now, the biggest thing here is that he said that the training doesn't have to be done in person or online. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt about that, because the state of Ohio has told police departments that they can take their training online. But the Ohio Revised Code says that the training has to be conducted by a certified instructor from a PATA, okay, and it must be done in person, okay? So that means that you must be sitting in the classroom with that instructor. But the state of Ohio changed the rules on that, so I'm going to give him a pass on that one, because he is right. They can't take the training. Now, what Chasing Justice has found and put before the court, and this is the matter before the court, the city of East Cleveland officers was taking a 6-hour course in 4 minutes. So you know what they was doing.
Right.
They would sign on the computer to take the course, and then they would go to the test and take the test, okay, which the computer tells you when they sign on, take the test and sign off, okay? That's how come that information's out there. Now, I'm going to go back into this right here, Tone Stone, because this is the really crazy part. He says that some of the officers was out of compliance, but we back in compliance. Okay. Now in the state, I'm gonna say this. This is new for the activists, and I'm gonna have to take my hat off to them because nobody thought about this or been here before. Because in the past, if a police officer goes into a non-compliance status, some of them were still out there working, but they were allowed to take their training, and they was forgiven. Okay, nobody questioned the people's rights that was violated. Okay, because the state of Ohio says if you go into a non-compliance mode or status, you can't be a police officer. You don't get fired. Okay, you can work the jail. You can wash the police cars. You can sit in dispatch, but you cannot carry a gun, and you cannot go out there and arrest people and have the authority of a law enforcement officer. And this is where the problem comes in right here. He says that some of the police officers was in non-compliance, but they went back and looked, and none of them made an arrest. Okay, I'm gonna put a sheet out right here. And I'm not gonna call no names because I'm gonna be fair about this. Okay, allegedly. Okay, I'm gonna say allegedly also because I'm not gonna say that Jason Justice is right on their reporting, but I'm gonna say that she's been in court and she has brought this to the forefront, and she got the state of Ohio saying that some of them have not been in compliance. She has the FOP saying that they was not in compliance. And she has the sports person standing in the city hall, town hall meeting saying that they're not in compliance. So I'm going to go with her on this, that these officers wasn't in compliance. And I'm damn sure will say this. If they wasn't in compliance, then until they was made to get in compliance, they stayed on the street and they made arrests and violated people's constitutional rights.
Right.
A lot of poor black people are in jail right now by police officers that didn't have the right to put them there. A lot of people got tickets by police officers that did not have the right to issue those tickets. And we're talking about some murder cases. I'm not even going to talk about the one murder case because that's still in court. Okay, so I'm not going to touch that one. But this is the one I'm going to touch right here, and I want everybody to know this. Arrest was made by officers who have been out of compliance on 2 murder cases. And the murder case, let me say this to you. Ms. Crenshaw called their names out. And those 4 officers, including the captain, who is the press information officer, is on that list. Okay? On July 19th, 2013, police responded to a report of a foul odor, investigated a garbage bag and an apartment leased to a male named Michael Madison. They discovered a decomposing body laying inside of his living room, plus 2 more bodies in the basement of a vacant house, plus 3 more bodies found 100 yards to 200 yards apart from each other, wrapped in plastic bags. After obtaining a search warrant, I want everybody to remember this. After obtaining a search warrant, police entered Michael Madison's apartment and found further evidence of a decomposing female. And after a brief standoff with police at his mother's house, he was taken into custody. Now, these officers signed a search warrant, found evidence, okay? If they were out of compliance, then they did not have the authority to go before a judge and have search warrants issued, okay? Guess what? If that's an illegal search warrant, then the body that they found in his house is inadmissible in court. The body that they found outside is inadmissible in court. And the garbage bags they found outside is inadmissible in court because all that was tied in from when they did the search. Okay? That means a serial killer sitting on death row can have his case overturned. Okay? And I don't know why the Project Innocent isn't working on this, because everybody should be working on this, finding out what's going on.
I think they probably not working on it because, like, even though under the circumstances, it was probably not legally, all this evidence and all this arrest probably wasn't legally obtained and effected, but he's guilty, so nobody really wants to go that route and free this serial killer. He's gonna have to do that on his own. He's gonna have to go to the jailhouse court.
No, somebody's doing it for him. Guess who's doing it? No, guess who's doing it for him?
Somebody is doing it for him.
Marsha Crenshaw, chasing justice.
Well, she's got
She's getting ready to run.
She's doing too much.
She's running down on.
No, she's not doing. We looking at it from the morals.
Right.
But
She's
the
running
legal
down.
view,
She's running down on the police department because
Yeah.
she's going to show that these officers are out of compliance, and they've been out of compliance for 2-3 years.
Right.
Okay.
I get her fight, but I'm talking about in the case of this serial killer.
He's in it. He's in it. If the police officers are wrong, see, this is the problem right here with the state and the prosecutor. Okay, and I'm gonna say this, Tone, and I want to come here, Jay, and I want y'all to understand this for a minute.
No, I do understand it.
The
I'm looking at
serial
Tom.
killer, Tone, is on the roller coaster. Okay,
Right.
There's no
but
way.
it's still a process to it. So, like you were saying, you don't understand why nobody's going down that road.
His lawyer.
Yeah, his lawyer. Because I don't know what his lawyers. I imagine he has some legal,
public defenders.
Yeah.
Right.
You know. So
right.
they don't have a choice if he push. he's got to tell them to do it. You know. In that case.
But I understand it. But see, Miss Crenshaw is going to nail him. Okay. On the 12th, if Miss Crenshaw shows they've been out of compliance and that judge issued that warrant, the floodgates are open. Okay, that serial killer might walk the street again. Okay, everybody.
It's a possibility. Yeah.
Everybody. Well, ain't no possibility. 99% sure. If these officers are showed that they're out of compliance, they did not have the authority to make that arrest, nor did they have authority to get that search warrant. There's no judge or court in the world will uphold that. That's a straight violation of his constitutional rights.
Yeah,
I mean, what you're saying is true, and it should be like that. But we done seen way worse. You know what I'm saying? With innocent people. You know what I'm saying? He's been found guilty, but from innocent people.
But see, the problem is who
didn't get off.
Right.
I mean, we've seen a lot worse. I mean, we can't say never 100% dealing with this court system.
Right, but see, this is the thing right here.
I know I was supposed to be, Unc. I know I was supposed to be.
We never had a person, an activist, this smart to put it to them like this before. So this is all new. This is all new area right here because this is what I see the state doing, Tone. And I'm going on your line right there. So I'm saying this. I'm putting it out there, and I'm going into my activist hat. Okay. Now I'm gonna put on my lawyer's hat. Okay. First of all, this all happened under the watch of your governor, Michael DeWine, when he was the Attorney General. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I do not see him pushing the issue that far. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because he got to bite the bullet. Okay. And he's the reason that this happened and the reason that a serial killer may walk out of court. Okay. And then I see the state of Ohio is the only one that can actually say whether the police officers were in compliant or not in compliant. Okay. So there you go again. I see what Jay's saying, and I'm bringing it in where the state might have to say, okay, they were in compliance, and this is a non-issue, okay? Mm-hmm. Because if they don't say that, the lawsuits alone, think about how many people, and this has far-reaching effects out of East Cleveland going down around Amherst and going back around, okay? How many people have been arrested or given tickets? This could turn into a nightmare, okay? And I see this, and on the 12th, we're going to be in the courtroom with Miss Crenshaw because we're going to know what's going on. But right then, I think that the captain better go back and do his homework because if I can just tell you where he, at best, misled everybody, okay, since he's a fellow law enforcement, I'm not going to call him a liar, but that's what he did. He lied to him. I'm not going to say he's a liar, but he lied to them. And at best, if you don't want to call him a liar, he misled everybody in the town hall. Okay? And I want y'all to look at that. Okay? And I want y'all to think about that because that case is coming up, and we're going to have Miss Crenshaw on the telephone, and we're going to get her into the studio, and we're going to talk about that because the citizens in East Cleveland, you remember they was going to do disband the police department, and the citizens stood up with their police officers. And Ms. Crenshaw was talking to Cuyahoga County prosecutor Michael O'Malley in a jail reform thing. That's up on STMK Radio 100 and Keep It 100, the video. And he said, and I'm going to quote this back. I haven't talked to her since she had that thing, but he said, if it comes to putting killers back on the street versus police officers being out of compliance, he's going with the police officers.
Right.
Okay, that's what he said. So he said that. Okay,
right.
And I read
even though that technically might not be the right thing Like that's what I'm saying. Like
Right.
before it get to that far, that worst case scenario, and he might just reference the serial killers, but it's got a lot to do with all of the lawsuits and everything as well. Like they're
Right.
gonna try to save face and cover up and make this go away as easy as possible. East Cleveland is just a shoddy operation, man. It's been that way for a long ass
No,
time.
it's time.
Somebody needs to step in there
Right,
and,
right.
and
And
do
what see
something.
what they're doing in East Cleveland, and I'm gonna say this, they're trying to regentrificate that whole city. They want the land down to nothing. They want to come in and get it for free, and they want everybody out. Then they're going to build up $300,000-$400,000 homes, and it's going to come back into all the neighborhood. You look at the people right now that's leaving Cleveland. They have to go out to Lake County. Willowick will be your next East Cleveland, your next Stanford. Okay, the Italians moving out here, and Section 8's going in. People's leaving. But we're going to go right here, Tone, and while we're talking law enforcement, because you know what? We heard the late, great Johnny Cochran, and nobody's better than Johnny. And you heard Johnny's summation at the end of the O.J. trial, and that was one hell of a summation. And like I said before, every time I hear it, I just love Johnny because when I was in law enforcement, Johnny made some good attributes to what somebody should do. And I want to go right here. Former Dallas police officer Amber Guyver has been given a 10-year murder sentence for fatally shooting Baham Jean in his Dallas apartment by a Texas jury. Now, this is a good case for everybody to understand this, and everybody should go research this case. And I want to go stop for a minute before I go into this. What I want to say is that you know about texting and driving. Okay, this is a good case why you shouldn't be texting and driving, and you should not be texting and walking. Okay, because she's in jail right now for texting. Okay, she's on the telephone talking to her married boo about getting hooked up and getting it on, and him leaving the house. She didn't even recognize that she went past the 3rd floor, and she didn't recognize that she walking into the exit on the 14th floor. Okay. Now, I don't hold anything about this because she actually was not intending to commit murder. Okay. And I'm going to ask this question to you and Jay, and I want you and Jay to listen to this because I want to see if y'all got your thinking cap on here. She walks into the building, texting, not realizing she on the 4th floor, walked to her apartment, which is in the same position as the apartment of the guy. She didn't recognize it had a red mat. That's the only difference between her apartment and his apartment. He had a red mat. Okay.
Yeah, that's enough right there for me to say. I mean, I don't think her intention was to kill, but if she doesn't recognize her own apartment, somewhere that she goes to every day, and even going through the front door,
they all the same. They all the same.
Yeah,
they
I
all the
understand
same.
it looks
Right.
the same on the outside, but
Right.
once you enter that apartment, you gonna notice the first thing that's off about your home, where you spend
but wait a
the
minute,
majority
Tone,
of your time.
But wait a minute, Tone. Let me say this, okay? So let's go into the thing. Let's go into the thing, because I want to set this up, okay? Because when she gets there, the door is ajar. She opened the door up, and there go a black man standing in his underwear. Okay. Now, she ended up shooting and killing him. Okay. Now there's 3 laws to play in here. Okay, there's 3 laws to play in here that she could have walked. This is where I want to go to. The first law was the mistake of fact. In the state of Texas, if you honestly make a mistake, which she did, they can't charge you. Okay, and that means good faith.
Right.
Okay, so I mean there's factors there, but that means good faith. Okay. Then there's the number 2. There's the stand your ground law. Same thing George Zimmerman went under. Stand your ground law. Okay,
Right.
that if this was her apartment, she had
a right to shoot him.
The right to shoot him. Okay. Then you had the Catherine doctrine. Okay, which state of Ohio and all the states with Republican governors have. Somebody break in your house, you can use deadly force. Okay. So those 3 laws are in play here. But I'm going to ask this question, and I'm going to say this. Did her social media posts in Texas get her put in jail? Okay. And I'm going to say this because remember me and Sax Man talked about going on social media, saying certain things and texting certain things. Remember, we had that talk. Well, she on social media with her white comrades talking about shooting niggas. Talking about if she get a chance, she gonna drop a black man quicker than a fly. Okay? Talking about niggas are lazy. Talking about the only way you can control a nigga is give him some hot lead. Okay? So at Martin Luther King Day March or Memorial, whatever they have, I forget what parade. In order for the niggas to leave on time, we need to pepper spray them. Okay? Now, I know that she never in the world thought that they was going to see these Texas. And remember what I tell everybody sitting right here on this show, and I tell our law enforcement correspondent about what he was doing. Texting and saying nasty and racial and hateful things can come back to bite you, especially if you're a police officer and you end up killing somebody.
Or any type of public official.
Okay.
I mean, just people, period. But I'm going to ask for this. See, I got most of my information on this case from Facebook.
Go ahead.
But didn't she know the guy?
No, she never knew him. So let me ask you this question, and I'm going to come back to this. Did the jury, because her lawyers wasn't able to argue any of those three laws to get her off. They even went on sudden passion, which is a non thing for her, because sudden passion is like I walk into the apartment and my wife is laying up on the couch with somebody.
Right.
Okay. So that's a non-moot point. Okay. So I'm asking this question to everybody out there. Did her social media post in Texas calling people niggas and dropping them, did that put them in jail? Because when you look at what's going on here, she got convicted of murder. Okay? Now, the judge wouldn't allow the Texas to be read or testified in court.
Right. That's okay.
But no,
right,
wait a minute. But they were put in evidence for the jury to read them and back in the room.
Deliberate.
Okay. And that the difference was they didn't want to prejudge the jury in court with her sitting there, but they can go back in the room and read it. Really, it ain't no difference to me, because if you're gonna sit in a room and read, Shawn said, "I'm gonna drop a nigga quicker than a fly," what difference does it make if the prosecution's saying it? Okay, that's why she couldn't get on the stand for fighting for her life. Okay, because if she'd have got on the stand, now those Texas could have came in, and the prosecutor ate her ass up on the stand. Okay, so
yeah, I'm thinking.
Everybody, I want everybody to understand this. She got 10 years. I didn't think she was gonna get convicted at all.
Me neither. That's what I told my mother.
On the three laws that I just read you.
Right.
The three laws I just read you, I didn't think she was gonna get convicted. And when the Texas Rangers and them, black Texas Rangers and them, got on the stand and said she didn't break no law and she didn't do no wrong, I figured they getting ready to argue these three cases and she was gonna walk. Okay. So I think the Texas had a lot to do with it. Now what you was going to, Tone, is yes, she's on the phone messing around, and she should have when she kicked the door in. And they went to her training. Okay, she didn't follow her training. Okay, training is when she opened up the door and the guy stood up. He in his underwear eating ice cream, watching football, the Thursday night football game. Hell yeah, I'd have stood up and asked what the fuck she doing too. Okay, and technically he was in the house. She was outside the house. So she should have backed off and took a defensive mode with him, okay, instead of just pulling out the gun, popping him. But her text say, the first chance I get, I'm going to drop a nigga like a fly.
Right.
Okay, and that's what she did. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. She did exactly what she said she was going to do on the Texas. Now, Jay, everybody talking about that her boyfriend should be charged because he erased his texts and all that stuff, okay? First of all, those texts was not part of evidence. He didn't have a subpoena, and he wasn't involved in the crime.
People saying that?
Most people want her boyfriend's charged,
Okay.
the married man, because he was married. So you know why they want him charged, because he was cheating on his wife. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that don't got nothing to do with the case.
Right.
That's how people are, though.
But
you're right. That's how people are.
but I'm saying those texts wasn't part of the crime scene. Those texts wasn't part of anything. He didn't get a subpoena. Now, if he'd got a subpoena and erased them, I could say yes.
Mm-hmm.
If I was screwing her, I wouldn't try to put her in jail neither. Okay, so that's the thing. Now, I want to go to this thing right here at the end. The prosecutor urged the jury to give her nothing less than 28 years. Okay. As she got convicted, I thought they would give her 28 years because she was a police officer.
Wait,
Okay?
the jury or the judge?
The jury. Because in Texas, after the jury find you guilty, then they go back and make
They
your
decide the time.
the time, decide your time. Okay. And you have to do at least half of it. So she's looking at 5 years, maybe 5 years, if she survived. I don't know how hard. If she was a male, I'd say it's going to be a long 5 years. She a female, I don't know how hard it is on females in the jail.
Straight into PC. She should be pretty safe.
Okay, so the room.
Well, it is Texas now. She killed
Right.
a black man. No,
Right.
She ain't gonna be that light.
And the room went silent when the judge gave her 10 years. Okay, but this is what I want everybody to understand. Everybody grieves different. Okay, you kill my brother, my sister. I don't have to. You can't tell me to be racial. You can't tell me how to grieve. You can't tell me what I should do. Okay, that guy had white friends and treated them just like they was brother, they're his blood brothers. That girl got on the stand and really cried and talked about that. Okay, so I can understand his brother when his brother got up and said, "Hey, I know you killed my brother,
right?
And my brother, if you killed me, my brother would not hate you, and my brother would want you to know that he loves you, and he hoped that God, that you give yourself to God and everything." And he asked to hug her.
That's what any good, decent person would do.
Right. And he went over and hugged her, okay? And you can't tell him how to grieve because
I've been arguing about this all day on
the
Facebook.
Bible.
We're not really arguing, but yeah, exactly. Colossians. I even went to the scriptures.
Right. The Bible said forgive. Now, the judge got caught up in the moment, but the judge also came down and hugged her. And the judge, by being a Christian, gave her her Bible and then told her the scripture she needs to start reading and do it every day and give her life to God and ask for forgiveness. What in the hell is wrong with us that now we want to run the black judge off the bench and crucify everybody?
People are hateful and vindictive,
Right.
No, bottom line, people are hateful and vindictive. They have, first of all, it's not so much about that. It's about
Jay, move into your mic. Move
I'm
into your
sorry.
mic.
It's about other issues that's going on in their life. They want people to suffer. They want people to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's about,
And on Facebook, it is out there.
Oh man, I was sitting here. I mean, I put up a post this morning, and that's what first thing I said. I believe in the scriptures and forgive. Bottom line, I'm gonna leave that right there. That's exactly what I'm gonna leave that right there.
Right. Now, let me say this.
Forgiveness.
The judge, Tammy Kemp, who gained national attention for her strict and stern style in the courtroom. She's one of those hang 'em judges. Okay, strictly by you. Just gonna go by the book. This is what we're gonna do. She holds the prosecution to the stick. She holds the defense to the stick. She came off the bench, and she told her, "You can have mine." She said, they brought her Bible with her and approached Amber and told Amber, "May God help you. You can have my Bible. I have 3 or 4 at home. This is the one I use every day. This is your job for the next month." It says it right here in John 3:16. And this is where you start. "For God so loved the world that he gave his only forgotten son, that whosoever believe in him should not perish and should have eternal life." She comes down there and tell this girl who's having an affair with a married man, who just committed the ultimate sin of murder, just talked about how racial she was, and tried to bring her to God. And everybody's gone crazy. And Jay, on Facebook, man, they was so hard and nasty. I call them keyboard warriors.
Right. Black people got so much forgiveness. Black people got so much forgiveness. That's what, man.
And I say this because with those two people comforting her and giving her, I hope that sends a message, because we with Trump right now and all the nastiness and the division and the hate, all this is going on. We need more love, and we need Jay and everybody that's what we need to be talking about, more love. Like I was telling Kennedy, we need to bring more positive stuff to the airways for people to understand. I know we broadcasting it.
100%. No, that's 100% real.
Right, and I know the people come because we're a progressive talk show, and they want to hear the hotness and hear the bang, bang, bang. But we're gonna bring a lot of good stuff to the airways, and those two cases alone let you know that dealing with Trump and all the mass shootings that we had, all the hate, all the division, the tribal politics that we're in right now, we have to bring some more Jesus into our schools and into
Bottom
our
line.
family. And we got to find that line. We got to get out and vote, people. We got our democracy's at
Right.
stake right here.
I'm glad you said that. And let's take a step back. You talking about Trump with the hate. Well, it's not so much that's Trump that scares me. It's the people who put him in office that scares me. The mentality of the country.
Bring your mic in just
the
a little bit.
mentality of the country.
Right. And
to put somebody like that in office shows the mentality of the country is really messed up. And
Well, Jay, you have to look at this. We said this earlier. Trump is in office because of Barack Obama. Okay, your first black president. Okay. This is why we have all of the white supremacists standing up, waving these flags and talking about white first, country first, the brown people taking your place. They didn't come out after blacks because guess what? If they come out after the blacks, then they lose that help. Okay?
Right.
So they went after the Mexicans. They went after the Muslims. They still treating us the same, but they didn't put us on the front street, okay? The Muslim and the Puerto Ricans are the ones that they go after. Then you look at this right here, what they're doing. Puerto Rico forgotten about. Jamaica forgotten about, okay? You look at Queens, you look at Chicago, look at Cleveland, the mass murderers every day. Every day this month, a young black male died in our streets, okay? I want everybody to understand that. Every day this month, a young black male got killed in the city of Cleveland. Cleveland's not the only place. Chicago, Atlanta, Alabama, L.A., New York, Washington, Detroit. Come on, you just call it. It's there. Columbus, okay? We got to do something about that. That's why we're trying to set up the 1,000-man march here in Cleveland to shut down the 4th District. I want everybody to understand that. We are still working on a 1,000-man march. We want 1,000 black men to come out. We want Muslims to come out. We want the FinPac to come out. For the people who don't know who Fin is, FinPac is the people getting out of jail. We want to bring them back into the fold. We want them standing there. We want the Muslims standing there. We want the Shriners there. We want the Masons there. We want the Qs. We want everybody to come in. We want you to bring your sons. We want all black men to come in, hold their hands, and stand in front of the 4th District telling our public officials that we're not going to take our kids and women being killed and dumped in the street like cattle anymore. And we got to do this. We got to set that up. Also, I want to thank everybody who came
the
out.
sad part about this, and it's a shame that people your age and our age are the ones doing this, and not the young folks.
Right, we got to bring the young people back in the fold. I keep telling everybody this, Jay, is that young people is only going to come into the fold when they see black men and people stand up and stand out at the 4th District holding hands, okay? We got to bring them there, show them there, and teach them. They got to get out the bars. They got to get
right.
out
you're
of,
100%
okay?
right, man.
They got to get off the streets. You know, our young kids are riding around here, and I know Tone don't like this, but we got all these kids running around here with guns, carjacking, robbing, shooting, 16-year-olds robbing. Just last 2 days ago, they're shooting at the police. They're riding down the street in a car, opening it up on police cars and police officers and people at gas stations with AK-47s and AR-15s. Okay? Looking for the police to chase them so they can have the big shootout. This is crazy.
Yeah, those type of people, your march is not going to affect those type of people. Those are the type of people that
No.
You know what? What that march is going to do, Tony? What everybody has to understand? The march is to send a signal to the mayor and our politicians that we're not taking the crime no more. They're going to have to send a task force out here. They're going to have to clean up the streets.
it's going to get violent. Okay.
But then people gonna start getting mad like they killing our black.
Well,
but these niggas out here thugging.
Well,
though,
let me
man.
tell you this.
I'm not saying out here killing.
But Jay, let me tell you this, Jay. They stood in Black Lives Matter and all them stood in City Hall Sunday, screaming for more police and protection and enforcement. Now, I told them all months ago and told you know how we've had these talks about this. Be careful what you ask for. You came out against your police officers, and they started sitting in the cars and not doing it, and they let the criminals and the gangs and them have the streets. Okay, these 16-year-old kids are not walking in gun stores buying guns. We did the show, Tone. What the gang member from Chicago said next week, that's what we're going to talk about, guns on our street, because I want to get him on the line, and I want to talk to him, and I want him to tell me what's going on. From Chicago, we're going to get him on the line. He said in Chicago, the government was bringing cases and guns and dropping them in the alleyways. Okay? Now, I have to say this, and I'm not biting my tongue on this. Ain't no 16-year-old kid got no fully automatic AR-15, and he didn't get it from no gun store. Ain't supposed to be on the street.
Come on with it.
I don't
You're right
know about that.
Well, I'm just telling you.
Yeah,
where they get
he
it
didn't
from?
walk in the store and buy it.
Where they get it from?
But the dope money, the gang money, they
can buy. Well,
they
can buy
it,
anything.
Yeah, they can buy it from.
Okay,
They might not be buying it from the gun store, but they can get it.
Right. So I agree with that. All I'm saying is, we did a show back in February up in Chicago, and we did one where they talked about guns being stolen off of trains, and that was the problem in Chicago, Atlanta, and Detroit. And out west, military grade guns in Arizona and Montana was being stole off from the military people who was being stole off trains. Okay,
yeah.
So I'm not saying that the drug boys. I'm not saying the government. I'm not saying the government dropped the guns off on the street and everything as they're saying. I don't know. I'm just going to. He says it. I'm going to talk to him. We're going to find out. The only
It's a
way,
possibility.
right? The only way we can find out what's going on in the streets, though, because I'm not a drug boy. Okay. The only way we're going to find out what's going on in the street, we got to go to the streets.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the 4 people that got killed in that house. Okay. The streets knew that it was a trap house. The streets knew people was living in that house. What happened to the people on that street? Why didn't nobody call the police? The owner talking about he was there 2 weeks before they found a body. You know good and well he wasn't there 2 weeks before the body because people were living in the house and they getting high in the house. Why didn't he call the police? Okay? So, I mean, all this goes on. People in the community has to stand up and start taking forefront. You know, I got to come out my house. You got to come out your house. The police going to have to come because it's going to get nasty. Now, I'm going to say this, and I said this on the panel before. I lived this in 1980 on the war on drugs. When the Jamaicans came into Cleveland, okay, I was a rookie police officer, and they was very violent, okay? A lot of people forget about the Jamaicans. When the Jamaicans didn't come up and ask the drug boys to get off the corner, the Jamaicans told you either sold for me.
Hold on. First of all, I lived on Clearview. I know firsthand.
That's where they burned the guy up and put the tires on him.
It's nighttime. Put your rocks up.
Right.
I know firsthand about that.
Okay, and they tell them the Jamaicans actually killed a guy, put tires on him, set him on fire. Okay, they didn't care about the police. The Jamaicans threatened it. They went down and burned police officers' garage. They came to my house and threatened to kill me. I had to go out there and pistol whip a guy and act like I was crazy. Okay. And everybody on the street know that. Didn't the whole street come out? I had to act crazy. I had to get, and I'm gonna say this.
But maybe we need that one person.
See, let me tell you this to you, John. There was a Jamaican guy. His name was Q King. They used to be in Johnny and Company on the corner of Cliffview and Euclid. After we had this incident, they burned down Joe Mitchell. The guy name was Joe Mitchell. They burned his garage down. After they came to my house, I ended up arresting 2 of them. They made a threat that if my kids come out to go up to school, they're going to cut their throat. I knew they wasn't lying. Okay? I knew it. Okay? That day, I worked at 3:30 that day. I knew where they was going to be at, and I worked. Okay? I got out my police car in the middle of Euclid Avenue with a 12-gauge shotgun, walked right into the bar to him and told him right then, it's on. Right now. Ain't no tomorrow, ain't no discussion, ain't nothing. Okay? His boys sitting there with guns, but they got popped. Okay? They didn't expect that to happen. Now the call goes out that a police officer up here with a shotgun with suspects with guns, drug boys with guns. Now here come the whole police department. And I had to tell him right there, you got to make a decision, bro. Either we going to leave this alone or we going to deal right now. And if anything happened to anybody, I'm coming back, and I'm gonna do like Steven Seagal on y'all.
Right,
I'm a
Sean,
John
I
Wick.
get you trying to relive your glory days, man. We talking about.
No,
so the point was that was crazy back then in the 80s, and you said it's gonna get nasty again. It's already nasty. It's been nasty.
No, it ain't.
It ain't never stopped being nasty.
No, it ain't nasty now, Tone. It ain't nasty now,
Yeah,
Tone.
we need cops like him to. Hold on, let me speak for a second. We need cops like him to address people like that, okay? But that's not the issue here. We talking about, okay, yeah, those are gangsters. So you can't have a march against them. They're going to do what they're going to do. So that's what the police exist for, to address people like that. But we're talking about all the rest of the people in the community who are being victimized and who are being who are impoverished, who don't have, who are suffering and struggling, and they don't have opportunities, jobs. They can't feed their families. That's what we're talking about cleaning up.
Right.
That's what we're trying to address.
But somebody, Tone, let me explain this to you. When I say it's going to get nasty, somebody has to come out and do the dirty work. Okay? Either the man's in the community is going to do it.
That's exactly.
Okay?
I agree with him.
Or the police is going to do it.
It should be
because this is what I'm talking about nasty. When the police come back out here, okay, to clean up the mess that we made. And I'm going to say this, the mess that we made. Those young boys are not going easy. They're going to do something stupid. They got guns. Somebody's going to die, either a police officer, because we don't know. Okay.
It shouldn't just be on the police. It should be grown men like us cooperating with the police to have children in the community.
Right.
Do this too.
And if we go out, this is what I'm saying. If we go out and stand up for ourselves, we can save our kids. We can stop the confrontation from happening. We can get those guns out those kids' hands before they go do something. If you're sitting in the house and you're a mother or something, you need to make sure to go through your kids' clothes, make sure they don't have guns.
Yeah.
Okay. It can't happen, but in order for that to even get there, all of us have to come out and stand as one. In numbers, we are strong. By yourself, you're a victim.
Right.
And I want everybody to understand it. But also, I want everybody.
It's funny you said that because about a month or so ago, I was watching an old episode of Rock, and Rock went through that. He had a drug dealer right across the
when the
street
guy
from
came
him.
to his house. Remember, the guy came to his house.
There wasn't no cops. He let him know. Then he had his neighbors support him. You know what I'm saying? We're not going for this over here, man.
Right. But you know what? Before we get ready to get off there, I want to say this. Friday, Saturday, everybody left Cleveland and went to Baltimore to turn that city blue. 64 buses, 34 vans, and a lot of people drove up there. And we want to thank the Baltimore Browns backers for hosting the people from Cleveland. Okay? I mean, it was wild. It was nice. It was a lovely show. The Browns beat the Ravens 40-13, something like that. And, I mean, it was nice to see Modell's house turned orange with the Cleveland Browns fans there and singing their battle song, Here We Go, Brownies.
Here we go.
Hey, and you know what? On that note right there, hold on for a minute, y'all. I just want to say something.
Fan base is big, I can't lose. Sugar bow down, I'm the next to rule, but I'ma stay on the cool, remain on the under, cause like Andre 3000, your boy's ice cold. Ain't no limit to the gimmicks and ways to make money. No limit to the just to act funny when you get that cake, cause you spit that way. They may love you tomorrow when they hate you today, but yo, that's the way the story goes, so I was told. Following the rainbow down the yellow brick road, please believe at the end ain't no pie to go. Just some platinum beats from the Cleveland streets.
Hey, I'm your host, Shawn L. Hey, listen, all of us gonna have to get together and do stuff and get our kids and hold our community and bring it back as one. But Tone the Stone, what's up with you?
Ain't nothing going on, Shawn. Same old thing, you know what I'm saying? Another good episode. I want to thank Sergeant Kennedy for coming out and, you know what I'm saying, sitting in the studio with us. And I'm glad to be back on there. We back, y'all. Thursdays from 6 to 8. Check us out. STMK Radio 100.
John Mack, J Mack is back in the house. There's gossip from the barbershop. You know, you can go see J Max at Hot Hands on East 200 and sit in there and know what's going on because my boy really be rolling it. Go ahead, Jay, tell us something.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Hey, and let me tell everybody right here, our Cleveland Cavaliers will be back October 11th at 7 p.m. Cavs versus the Pistons. And then on October 23rd, we're going to be down at the new Q Arena when the Cavs take on the Boston Celtics. Hey, right now I want to say this. You know, season 4 started. We got a lot of good things going on. We want to thank Sergeant Kennedy B. Jones for being in studio with us. A week before last, we had Prince, the professor, who came in from ATL and sat with us in the studio. And then before that, we had John O. from Washington, D.C. in show 2. Hey, I want everybody to come back and see us. And until next time, peace. I'm your host, Shawn L. Later.
You've been listening to Stop the Madness, Keep It 100 on STMK Radio 100.